So I am saying I have not given you the formula here, but we have used it previously, where we have been saying it is the daily demand. Is the daily demand. You multiply by read time. Multiply by read time. Daily demand, you multiply by read time. Now this daily demand, the question says they are using 2,000 units in 30 days. So if you divide 2,000 by 30, you'll be able to know every day they are using how many. And we are also told that the read time is 4. The read time is 4. Number 5 is probability distribution. Probability distribution. Now, in the probability distribution, we are going to have demand during read time. We are going to have demand during read time. And this is what I want you to do, because I want to move out kidogo. These units, they are for the whole month. And we need demand for just 4 days. So each one of them, you shall divide by 30 and multiply by 4. Alafu unaandika probability yake hapa, which is 0.06. You do the same hapa, 1900. You divide by 30 times 4. 0.14. Hapa umepata gapi? 267, eh? Yeah, and if you get decimals, you round up. Even if it's a 0.1, you round up, eh? Yeah. So tengeneza hii for a few minutes, I'll be back.
Now, the general meeting shall be and adopt that law. If you look at those records taking aside, but just an interval for 1 month. Directors use the these are duties. These are duties demanded by the shareholders. These are duties demanded by the shareholders. The fifth, common law duties. Common law duties. These are the duties demanded by the shareholders. And that is something that it's not the role of the so let us keep the question. Therefore, the duty of loyalty and rule. Therefore, the duty of loyalty. Therefore, formed by the director. Duty with one. Between the company
So if you have finished that, now you can see the 5 things, how they happen. So we now draw analysis table. Analysis table. So this analysis table, the first column inaitwa new order points. Then here we have safety stock. Then we have holding costs. And here we have some of shortage units, order cycle, multiplied by probability of shortages, multiplied by annual number of orders multiplied by annual number of orders, multiplied by unit shortage costs is total shortage costs. Then we get the total costs. So hii column is wide. Kuna many workings. So now we are done. Now, when you have designed it that way, we always start at the current reorder point. The current reorder point is called 267. So we got 267 up. When you have 267, there is no safety stock. So this one is 0. Yes. How did I? Why is it that how do you come to the conclusion that the current order? I know we are
What is the guiding? I understand that question 267 is the EOQ, right?
No. EOQ is 2000.
Yes.
EOQ is 2000. Current period point, if you look at the formula, it is given as daily usage multiplied by lead time. So daily usage, we got it as 2000 divided by 30. Then tukapata usage per day. Then tuka multiply na lead time, and lead time is 4 days. So that is how we got 267. Is that okay?
See here, EOQ is 2,000 units every 5 days. Like the right here, I say whenever you are not, if the question is not stated in the current order, use the EOQ.
It's wrong. It's wrong because the procedures require you use the current order. Now, there are several possibilities in a question. The first one is that the question will have clearly given you what you require. Or if they have not given you, for example, in that question, if you look at the shortage cost, that one was clearly given. So we already picked, yes. But if you look at something like holding costs, it was not clearly given. As a second possibility in a question. You are not given exactly what you require, but you have some other pieces of information that you can use, obviously by using the formula that you know how to get what you require. Like now you're holding cost, tukasema tumepewa ya 1 month, na tunajua tunatafuta ya 1 year, na 1 year has 12 months, so we multiply. That's how?
Yes.
The same thing now happens with the current order point. Actually, the question has nowhere it has mentioned current order point.
Yes.
But now you as a student or as a person doing the analysis, you know that you require current order point. If it is provided, very good. If it is not provided, how do we get it?
Yes.
Yes. That's where we are.
So it appears to me that when it's not provided, use the
I don't want to confine myself to EOQ because you can be given any other number of units, not necessarily EOQ. What we are looking for is daily demand. So which units will help us get daily demand? They can be EOQ, they can be something else. The issue is, who are we looking for? Or what are we looking for? We are looking for units per day. Don't get it that utakuwa umepewa EOQ all the time. But all the time when you are dealing with this question, you'll be looking for daily usage times daily time, if current order point is not given. Marijuana. Because if you take EOQ, whether upate swali ingine haina EOQ, itakudanganya.
So in that case, in that case, when like in this question, 2000, right? And incidentally, that the same units we are using to find the current.
Yes, yes. But what I don't want you to believe is that everywhere utakuwa unatumia EOQ. Because it's not everywhere you will have EOQ. What I want you to know is that everywhere when you are computing current order point, you'll be looking for daily demand. Is that okay? Yes. And I think last time I emphasized that it is not only again daily demand kila mahali. Because we use day as just one of the very many measures of time. Time can be measured in terms of hours, in terms of seconds, in terms of days, in terms of weeks, months, and so on. Right? But because hatuwezi andika hizo formula zote, tunachukuaga just one unit of measurement, day. Now what you do, you look at how lead time has been defined. If you look at this question, lead time is defined in terms of days. You know, so that tells you require daily demand. But if you get another question in the compare demand or rather lead time in terms of weeks, then you require weekly demand. Now I was at the point of saying that if you look at that distribution umechora, probability distribution, imeanza huko juu. But somewhere at the middle or wherever you have 267. See ukiangalia kwa hiyo distribution ya number 5. Kuna 267 somewhere. Yes. So that is where we are starting. And we are starting there because this is our current reorder point. So at that point now, I was saying that the safety stock is 0. Why is it 0? There is a formula I had given you earlier on, which was saying new reorder point. Can you see that formula? New reorder point is equal to current reorder point plus safety. So we already know that this is our current. But here we are now calling it what? New. So if the current is the new, then it means safety must be what? Safety must be 0. Yes. Good. So if it is 0, the holding cost will be 0 times 120, and the answer is 0. And the answer is 0. So look at the distribution and you tell me, do we have any other demand during lead time? Here tumeandika DDLT. DDLT means demand during lead time. Do we have any that is more than 267? Ya kwanza ni 280. What's the difference between 280 and 267? 13. Sasa hiyo ni kumaanisha if 280 customers come, 13 customers will go home without what they wanted. That's the shortage. And the probability that demand can be 280 is what? 0.16. So you multiply by 0.16. Or naikina iko above 280. That is. So get the difference between that 291 and this 267. Huh? 27. The probability of that is 0.13 plus huyo mwingine 307. So subtract 267. 40. And the probability of that is 0.17. 10. There's another one. That is 320. So that will give us a shortage of 53 with a probability of 0.07. There's another one. That has a shortage of 67 with a probability of 0.04. That's all. So now that is what we expect to suffer as shortages if you are holding 267. Then you multiply by the annual order. The annual order because tumepata ni what? Ni 12. And the unit shortage cost because tumepata ni 100. So work out that and give me the answer. And for those who missed the Saturday class and I think I did not send the recording to the group, you can get it in my channel. Yeah. Channel. If you're not able to get, you let me know. Give me the answer. Yeah. 12:35. Naona kama ni kidogo hiyo. 19,176 good. Sasa hiyo you add to this one yenye iko hapa. That's what we call the incremental. So we add, yes, I can see Yusuf has given 19,176. So you can even draw a line so that we are separating. Those ones are on their own. Let us go to the next one. After 267, huyo mwingine amefuata, tumesema ni 280. So 280 italeta nayo safety ya 13. So that this 13 plus 267 it is 280. So the holding cost will be 13 times 120. 1560. Now you can only be out of stock if demand is more than 280. So unarudi kwa hiyo distribution yako na angalia who is greater than 280. Ya kwanza italeta shortage ya 14. Na iko na probability ya 0.13 plus huyo mwingine ataleta shortage ya 27 with a probability of 0.1. Huyo mwingine analeta shortage ya 40 with a probability of 0.07. Huyo mwingine analeta shortage ya 54 with a probability of 0.04. So this one now you multiply by 12, you multiply by 100. That's it. 11,376. Agreed? Okay. Sasa hiyo 11 ongezea hii. Ongeza 1560. 12 936. 12 936. After 280, the next one you have is what? 290. So 20 kwa 294. So if it is 294, if it is 294, the safety will be how many units? 294 minus 267. 27. So now hapa utasema 27 multiplied by 120. That's 240. You can only be out of stock now if you go beyond 294. So ya kwanza yenye imepita hapo, it will create a shortage of what? Huh? 13. Na iko na probability ya 0.1. Plus huyo mwingine umesema 26 with a probability of 0.07 plus huyo mwingine analeta 40 with a probability of 0.04, 0.04. Now this one multiplied by 12, multiplied by 100. Multiplied by 12, multiplied by 100. Unapata? 64. Now add to this one. Add that 240. With the 904. Haya. So hiyo tunafunga. After 294, the next one is 307. So 307 will create a safety of what? 40. So now 40 multiplied by 120. It will give us 4,800. From there, we can only be out of stock if you go beyond this. So ya kwanza yenye italeta hiyo shortage ni 20. So those are how many units out of stock? 13. With a probability of 0.07. Huyo mwingine ataleta shortage ya 27 with a probability of 0.04. You multiply by 12, you multiply by 100. So ukiongezea hiyo 7188. So after 307, 320. So 320 will bring a safety of 53. So 53 times 120. Let's get 6360. So you can only be out of stock ukipita hapo. That will be how many units? 14. Okay, 14 with a probability of what? 0.04 multiplied by 12 multiplied by 100. Sema? 672. So 672, ukiadd 6360. 70-2. And after 320, we get to 334. 334 will create a safety of 67. So 67 multiplied by 120. 840. You can only be out of stock. Are we beyond that? So if we are not, you simply say 0 with a probability of 0 multiplied by 12 multiplied by 100. That gives us 0. So the total is 840. If you remember what I explained in the last lesson about operating either in the extremes or somewhere at the middle, now it is visible with numbers. The first extreme is where you say, I will never be out of stock. So you incur holding costs. So now ni kubwa, but hapa ni 0. So you never suffer shortages. Hiyo extreme nyingine ni ile tulianza nayo huko tu. Ukiangalia where we started, that is where now you say I will never hold. So the holding cost is what? 0. But now you will incur the shortage cost. Those are the two extremes. Hiyo ya kwanza na ya mwisho. Hizi zingine ziko hapa katikati, unachukua kidogo hapa kidogo hapa. That's why unaona the easy values, unaona kama hii 70. It is a makeup of this and this. Kidogo hapa kidogo hapa. So what you do now, you come to the column here, total costs. You scan all through and you settle for the smallest of those. So the smallest of those is 70-32. So if that is the case, you now down there tell us the summary. You give us the summary down there. Summary or the solution, call it summary, or you can call it the solution, you can call it a device, whichever you prefer. And that now is supposed to contain 3 things. One, you should tell us optimal number of units or optimal safety stock. Optimal safety stock. Mahali umepata hiyo 70-2. Ukikibia this side, it is corresponding to how many units of safety? 53. Aya, hiyo ingine new reorder point. As the other thing you should tell us, new reorder point. It is corresponding to 320. 320. And the last thing you should tell us is probability of stock out. Probability of stock out. Now that we have settled for this 320, there is still a chance that we can get 334 with a probability of 0.04. There is a possibility we can get this. So the probability of stock out is 0.0. If you settle for this one, the probability of stock out is 0. If you settle for a hapo juu, then you add the probabilities are wako chini. You add the probabilities of the ones that are lower. So any question? Any concern regarding that question? If you are okay, draw another table like that. I want us to solve another question. Draw another table as I look for the question. Draw another table as I look for the question I want us to solve. Yes, the question belongs to December 2010. Question. It should be question 2B, but the typo. So we are through, eh? Do some of your question quickly. It's on page 119. Read.
BC company buys and sells. The company sometimes runs stock using competition on sales or lost sales and like to embed a reliable inventory system. Management accountant has provided the following information from the stores. Estimated annual demand 12,000. Purchase price by unit. Selling price by unit shillings 155. Lead time 5 days. Holding cost per unit shillings 20. Economic order quantity 1,000. Additional information. The company operates a 5-day week. The number of X units sold, the corresponding number of days, are as follows. Units days. I think it's supposed to be additional information. The company currently uses a reorder of 250 units of X and does not carry any safety stocks because of guaranteed delivery time. Sorry, additional information. The company intends to fully satisfy its customers' demand as well as minimize their associated costs. While we should also be annual stock out costs using the current reorder. Advise the management on the reorder level that will enable the company to fully satisfy its customers' demand within associated costs.
Thank you. That's good. Jackson. As usual, we need to first of all get our 5 items. So item number 1, now that I told you to draw the table, but we can get them already, because in any case, that's not the table. So item number 1 is to identify our unit shortage costs. Unit shortage costs when I taught you about the inventory costs, we said shortage is maybe unaweza decree hapo kwa karatasi whenever you need the customer working. Yeah. It will be the profit. So utaandika profit is equals to this unit we are selling it at 155. So now you 155 minus the purchase cost is 100 minus the holding cost of 20. Now this holding cost is usually divided by 2. It is average. You work with the average. Yeah, so that would be the unit shortage cost. First of all, give me that. 45. So sasa hivi utasema it is the unit shortage cost. Because I told you, if you don't have what the customer wants, akienda kununua kwa jirani, you will lose the profit. So unit shortage cost is that. Number 2, tunastahili kutafuta unit holding cost. It is already given. CO 20 is already given. Yeah, so that one does not require working. Number 3, we require to know the annual orders. Now the annual orders, they have not been given. So that one may also require a working. Andika N, we know the formula for N is R out of Q. So these are, we are told it is 12,000 and Q is 1,200. So that must be 10. That must be 10. So if that is 10, what else do we require? We require to know the current reorder point. Current reorder point. The question has not given us. Of how many? Oh, it's given. The company currently uses a reorder level of 250. Good. So that is given. You don't require to work. That's been given 250. Now we require the probability distribution of demand during lead time. You see these units that have been given here, according to information 2 or whatever it is, the number of X units sold with corresponding number of days. Like the first one is how many units? 30. And there's how many days? Can you interpret that 30? Those 13 units used for how long? Those 30 days are for how, those 30 units are for how long? Okay, Yusuf, I can see your question. You are saying I explain when we use the annual unit holding costs and when we just use holding cost per unit. Now, the default figure that we use is annual unit holding cost. Annual unit holding cost. If the question has not mentioned time within which the holding cost applies, you take it is annual. Like now in this question at heart, the question has not expressed holding cost in terms of time. So we are going to take it as annual. But here swali lingine tumejibu, it was very clear that it was per month. Yeah. But the default or what we should use is the annual. So kama wamekupea time frame, now you must make it to be equal to 1 year. But kama hawajataja, you just assume that that is the way it should. Yes. Good. The units that were sold in a day. That was the first trick. So if they are the units that were sold in a day, this question is not very clear about the lead time. But wameficha hiyo maneno kwa information 1. Naona akisema the company operates a 5-day week. So what we are going to do is to multiply those units by 5 days. So that now they correspond to that period of 1 week. And that is when zitafanana na hii 250. So naona hiyo 250 imepeanwa hapo. That's the only time zitafanana. So we are going to draw either one degree. Yusuf, I hope you have understood what I have explained. I forgot to ask. Yusuf? Good. Now I'm saying, now that I did not give you the time, the space to for working, hapo kuna units. Hapo katikati unaweza ongeza column uite DDLT. Na hiyo DDLT utaenda ukimultiply hizo units na 5. So that kama hii iko 30, you multiply by 5 you get 150. Hii ingine ya 40 you multiply by 5 you get 200. Huyu mwingine wa 50 you get 250. Hivyo. Itia tu hapo kwa pass paper. Hapa if you have space. Alafu sasa after the days, after the days, create another column, you call it probability. Create another column, you call it probability. Kwanza nipatie total ya hizo days. 10 plus 20 plus 50 plus 30 plus 15 plus 5.
Where the director has conducted himself properly.
Total ni 130. So in getting the probabilities, utakuwa unasema 30 divided by 130. We can confine ourselves to decimals. 30 divided by 130. 0.23. Is it rounded or exact? Okay, sawa. Hiyo ingine ni 30 ama ni 10? Sorry, it should have been 10. Should have been 10. Sorry for that. It is 10. So rectify. It is 10, you divide by 130. Two decimals.
0.077.
So we work with 0.8. I want us to use two decimals. But in the exam, you're free to use whichever number you want. Good. Here again is 20. 20 divided by 130. 0.15. Hiyo ingine ni 50. So 50 divided by 130. 0.38. Endelea hivyo, lakini ile ya mwisho, hiyo ya mwisho hauta divide. What you shall do to accommodate the errors that we have made. Utasema 1 minus hizo zingine za juu. You upate ya mwisho, because they must finally add exactly to 1. They must add exactly to 1.
The moment the company has suffered or need to build You should have known. You should have known.
We are through now, eh? Okay. So if we are through, now we can start our workings on our table. So Jackson, unaona sasa hiyo hakuna mahali ilikuwa hakuna mahali tunatumia hiyo key kutafuta current, eh?
Yes. My why was when you are not in this question. How do we say get it? Now you can when the question, when it's not clear,
is exactly as I said there, and maybe I can elaborate it a bit. Eh? You know, management, they say is dynamic. So that's why we never agree whether management is science or art. That's why we never agree whether we should use the scientific theories like in Henry Fayol, Frederick Taylor, ama ni hizi kina contingency like in America for it and but after all is said and done, you must manage. So that's now what I was saying. What you must know is that you must get the daily demand. But we should not confine ourselves to huge, because you can be presented with any other figure, obviously that will enable you to get what they require. So having said what we said with the other one, we now begin at what? 250. So at 250, and before I forget, these questions are brought in three versions. Three versions, which depend on the demand. The first version is where you are given a higher demand than what you require. If you are given a higher, you divide. Kama hivyo tulikuwa tumepewa demand ya 1 month, lakini tulikuwa tunahitaji ya 4 days. So lazima you divide, urudishe chini kwa 4 days. That's the first type. The second type is where you are given a 1 demand. Kama hii sasa yenye tuko nayo. Tumepewa for 1 day, but we require for 5 days. So you multiply. The third possibility is where now they give you exact. I think I'll give you a question that has also exact. So at 250, safety is 0. So holding will be 0 times 20, that is 0. Huyo mwingine anaitwa the first number of units that is beyond 250 ni ngapi? So that means we have a shortage of what? 50. And it has a probability of what? 300 has a probability of 0.23. Huyo mwingine ataleta shortage ya 100 with a probability of 0.12. Na huyo mwingine ataleta shortage ya 150 with a probability of 0.04. And the annual orders tulikuwa tushapata they are what, 10, eh? And the shortage cost tulipata ilikuwa 1 no ilikuwa 45 or 35. Yeah, 45, eh? $13,275. So hapa 13,275. So I propose you proceed on your own. Proceed there on your own. Do the summary. So we have settled for an order level of how many units? This is 50, this is 150. You have gone for 50. Have I? Okay. So the probability of being out of stock is 0, eh? Hapana, haiwezi kuwa hivyo. Si ndio ilikuwa ya mwisho ama kuna 400 eh? Oh, sawa. Kama kuna 400 then that is okay.
Yes, suppose you answer that kind of a question, then probably you're bad by time.
How do you get?
Suppose you're between like 80% of that. You are not arrived at
The conclusion.
yeah. You get any mark.
Yeah, you get a lot of marks. You get a lot of marks. Actually, when we are marking these papers, we are very generous. very generous. When I used to be very active in these markings, we used to count the theory marks. Like, or before I talk of that, note this one. Note this question of December 2013. December 2013, question 3C. Question 3C. If you look at the paper of last sitting, here, if I'm the one who was marking, here's how I would have gone about it. Question 1 has 4 marks, theory. Question 2 has 6 marks, theory. Question 3 has 10 marks, theory. Question 4 has 6 marks, theory. And question 5 has 9 marks. Give me the top of that. That's 5. That is what I would have expected my candidate to score and pass the paper. That's how we mark. I believe those who are marking after us, they are still taking the cue from us. Most of us were my students. So this tells you, when we are marking A.M.A, we actually do not expect you to get a single figure. Single figure. Acha hiyo unasema umejaza nusu. We don't expect you to jaza anything. Bora umefanya theory. Hiyo karatasi itapita. Unfortunately, most of you una ignore ile theory tunawafunza. Unang'ang'ana na mahesabu. So theory inakuja ikiwa rahisi. You do nothing because haukusoma. Mahesabu yenye ulisoma kweli inakuja, but unaona giza. Total result. Because you know some of these things they come and you cannot even tell imetoka kwa topic gani. All that you know ni karatasi ya A.M.A. Even hata una doubt kama ni A.M.A. Yes, mahesabu. So my advice, and that's what I keep on telling students, if you want to pass A.M.A, the very first thing, go to your notes. Huko kuna theory, cram those theories like 5 times. Usome mara 5 ukirudia. So that wakileta swali ya theory uko sawa. Sasa waache ukitafutiria hizi zingine za computations. But if you want to major more on figures, they can easily mess you. They can easily mess you. And the other advantage that we enjoy, those of us who mark this paper, we are more in numbers, not in theories. My strength is in numbers, not in theory. So when there is a theory question, nitaimark haraka sababu mimi sielewi vizuri, sitaki tupa my time there. So as long as umeona uko na idea, I will give you the marks. But kwa mahesabu mimi huwezi nipiga chenga, nitakuonea bad sana. This is my area. Kwa mahesabu ninakuonea tu huko, ninaona wewe umepotea. But theory sasa ni ukapata na kinakafusho kinakarua hao Hao nao kwa theory huwezi watanganya. That is their what? Strength. So if you answer this theory vizuri, hata kwa AFM, ukijibu theory vizuri, you have very high chances of passing. But ukingoja hiyo Z score ikuje, itakuja. Hiyo mo degree yake inaweza kuja uone giza. Ushangae, where do you start? This morning I was marking a paper for one of my students. Alikuwa ameleta assignment. And it was test for hypothesis. Ile table tunachoranga iko na 11 columns. Na hizo hypothesis zote. And everything was wrong because what was X, yeye akaita Y. So hata nilishangaa nitamaka kama namna gani. Na sasa hiyo amechapa like 3 full scars. 3 full scars. But pale tu mahali kuna stahili kuwekwa Y akaweka X. Kila kitu nje. That's a problem with figures. Good, but all the same, okay, so I think I've given you a question for assignment. And now time imeisha, tumebaki 5 minutes, so I think we can pick up from there tomorrow. Thank you.